Coming up here on the Raiders Report, I'm going to tell you why the Raiders cannot afford to pick Oregon quarterback Bo Nix in the 2024 NFL Draft. Simply put it, if I knew that the Raiders were going to take somebody that is a guaranteed bust, I would try to prevent it, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and today's show is presented by Manscaped. Head on over to manscaped.com, use code Raiders. That way you can save 20% off and get free shipping on the best male grooming products out there. Simply put, if I hear the Las Vegas Raiders are drafting Bo Nix, it's a kick in the balls. And if anybody out there agrees that the Las Vegas Raiders taking Bo Nix in the 2024 NFL Draft is a kick in the balls, then I want you to like the video because you're going to like today's show. And you're also, well, hopefully your balls are taken care of a Manscaped and they look okay. But I know this, if I got kicked in the nuts, I'd rather get kicked in the nuts than the Raiders drafting Bo Nix. And I'm going to tell you all those reasons why. And the biggest thing that a lot of people always hit me with are, Mitch, look at his numbers. I looked at his numbers time and time again. And the problem that people have is you can't just look at a quarterback's numbers. Put on the tape. If you can legitimately look at me on this camera right now at home and you go, I've watched the tape on Bo Nix. He's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. I don't trust your ability to watch quarterback tape. I get it. He had 51 total touchdowns, 3 interceptions last season with the Oregon Ducks. The year before that, very impressive. A completion percentage at 77.4%. Like, what he looked at Auburn compared to the way that he looked at Oregon is two totally different quarterbacks. And one of the things that I always say is I want to be able to find somebody that gets better and better and better. So some of you are like, well, wait a minute. Bo showed you that he was able to get better and better and better as the years went on. I don't disagree with that. My point is, when I make this video, is Bo might be a good quarterback on other NFL teams. Like, to me, the number one team that should draft Bo is Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. My point is that all I care about is the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm not saying Bo Nix is going to be a bust on all 31 NFL teams. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that Bo Nix on the Las Vegas Raiders is a bona fide bust. It's a guaranteed. And because of that, I do not want the Raiders to end up drafting him. And coming up here, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you can't afford to draft Bo Nix. I'm going to give you 5 reasons why that he is a guaranteed bust in silver and black. And if you did not see what he recently said, I guarantee you the final reason on today's show, anybody out there that thought, yeah, I would want the Raiders to draft Bo Nix, I guarantee you, the last thing that I show you based on what Bo said, any Raider fan out there is going to be like, yeah, you cannot draft Bo Nix. So to me, we're going to be making a lot of draft videos. We're going to be live for the NFL Draft on top of that. We're going to be live every single pick, all 7 rounds. You're going to get the picks before you see them on TV. On top of that, Chugs and I just got a brand new game that we're going to be playing on the NFL Draft. It's going to be wild. We're going to be doing tons of giveaways. We're going to be rocking and rolling. We're going to be having a lot of fun, hanging out with the nation. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people tune into the Raiders Report during that 3-4 day stretch of the NFL Draft. I'm also counting UDFAs on top of that. I don't want you to miss it. We rock and roll here. It's 3 weeks away. So here we go. Why the Raiders cannot draft Oregon quarterback Bo Nix. Dude checks down way too often. And I know that sometimes that's the design. But in the NFL, you're not going to get the yards after the catch that Bo got. Like, a lot of the numbers that Nix put up, those are padded stats. They are stats that the wide receiver talent at Oregon, the running back talent at Oregon, he should be saying thank you to a lot of the numbers that he got. Nearly 30% of his passes in 2023 were thrown behind the line of scrimmage. Think about that. Balls behind the line of scrimmage, 30% of his passes. That type of shit's not going to work in the NFL. The other thing that drives me insane when I watch his tape is he takes the easy throw when other throws are open. Like, there could be a 15, 20-yard out that, you know what? A good NFL quarterback has the confidence to make that throw. Bo goes, I don't know if I'm going to make that throw. I'll check it down. I'll pick up 4 or 5 yards. That stuff's not going to win in the NFL. Nix doesn't have the arm talent or accuracy down the field to win in the NFL on a consistent basis. And because of that, you can't draft him. Let's go to the next thing here that just drives me insane when I watch Bo's tape. Panic happy feet. And I'm going to make a comparison out there. And some of y'all are going to love it. Some of y'all are going to hate it. When I watch Bo Nix, he reminds me of Derek Carr. Why do I say that? Because there's some game tape you watch Bo and you're like, that guy's really freaking good. And then in a snap of a finger, something happens where he gets too much pressure, and then all of a sudden he turns into check down Charlie, and the happy feet, they just start pitter-pattering. Because when it's easy, and when I say when it's easy, think about clean pockets. Clean pockets happen a lot more often in college than they do in the NFL. And when the play is right and it's working perfectly, his footwork is actually pretty good. And I'll admit it, it's actually pretty solid. As soon as the play breaks down or he's got to look past that first read, and God forbid he has to make progressions, that's when the pitter-pattering starts. And when people actually get pressure on him, he's totally different quarterback. His throws are a lot more erratic. His footwork needs so much work. But the tape for Bo Nix, based on the happy feet, based on the checkdowns, if you're looking for a Derek Carr from 2017 to 2022, here you go. His name's Bo Nix. Now, I got to be honest, and this is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, and I know this is going to ruffle a lot of feathers out there for Raider fans because Bo is a West Coast guy, played for Oregon. I know there's a lot of people that watch this show that are Oregon fans, but I want you to be honest. Say it with your chest. Type D for draft, type P for pass. If I say Bo Nix will have a similar career to Derek Carr, would you draft him? You're about to get hit with the YouTube ad break. I want you to scroll on down and give me your answer. This one to me is a hard pass. Like, I know what Derek Carr was from 2015 to 2016. MVP caliber quarterback. That's not what Bo Nix is. Bo Nix's ceiling to me is Derek Carr in 2017 to 2022. Yes, you might be able to find a quarterback that might be able to pad some stat sheets. But at the end of the day, I want somebody that I believe I can win a Super Bowl with. I want a quarterback that I think elevates me, not kind of is just going to keep me in that purgatory average area. Bo did some great things at Oregon. Some quarterbacks are built to just be college quarterbacks. And to me, that's exactly what Bo Nix is. So, no, I don't want the Raiders to draft Bo Nix. Coming up here, I got 3 more reasons why the Silver and Black cannot afford to draft Bo Nix. Before I tell you about that, though, I said earlier I got kicked in the balls. I can also tell you this. My balls look freaking amazing. Shout out to Manscaped, our sponsor here on today's show. And I've said a lot of amazing things about Manscaped, and I want y'all to listen up because what Manscaped is doing this month in April is just proving why I freaking love them through and through. Because this episode brought to you by Manscaped. And did you know 1 man every hour, every day is diagnosed with testicular cancer? In fact, testicular cancer is the most common form of cancer amongst men aged 15 to 35. With April being National Testicular Cancer Awareness Month, our friends over at Manscaped have partnered with the Testicular Cancer Society to help spread awareness for men's health and early cancer detection. Visit manscaped.com/TCS to learn how to check yourself for early signs of cancer. And as always, you can use promo code Raiders for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. In addition to providing the right tools and solutions for comfortable and easy grooming, Manscaped is committed to raising awareness and giving support to fighters, survivors, and families impacted by testicular cancer. That is why they will be donating $50,000 to the Testicular Cancer Society. Help save lives and your balls by going over to manscaped.com/TCS and sharing their funny, educational, check yourself video. And while you're at it, grab 20% off plus free shipping with code Raiders because like a famous American philosopher once said, take care of your chicken, your balls, and your mentals. Shout out to Manscaped for hooking up the nation here. And believe me, we joke, we do a lot of crazy and stupid shit on this show. And Manscaped, I always say, is like the sponsor that lets me be me. They let me truly be funny, do whatever the hell I want, say whatever I want, and that's the type of stuff that I love. But also when a company does something like this and backs it up, and I know a lot of people are watching right now, we do stupid stuff here all the time, right? But when you do this extra thing and creating awareness for testicular cancer, I've had my life impacted by cancer so many times. My grandfather passed away from it. I got it tatted on my arm. Like, this hits home to me. So shout out to Manscaped for doing the right things, and also shout out to the Manscaped for hooking up the nation here. Let's go to the next reason why the Raiders cannot draft Bo Nix. He telegraphs primary reads, and he telegraphs primary reads because he can't make his second read. He can't make his third read. There's not many quarterbacks that are getting first-round hype that I can legitimately say, I don't know if I've seen a quarterback not be able to work through progressions worse than what Bo has done and still get first-round type of hype. Because the only reason that he has succeeded, to me, is Oregon's simple first-read offense. Like, I think it's funny at times. People are like, oh, all these great Oregon quarterbacks. I mean, there's hasn't really been one besides Justin Herbert. Oregon's offense is the perfect offense for a college quarterback to execute because of how simple it is, because of the great athletes that are around it, and because of all the yards after the catch. Like, I don't want somebody that if it's the first read, it's not there. Like, what Bo does is he checks it down. He gets rid of the football, and he lives to see another day. You can do that in college. You can't do that in the NFL. If you stare down your first progression, you're in trouble because the team's going to take that away. And until Bo shows me that he has the footwork, the pocket awareness, the ability to understand blitz concepts, and then make different reads and throw the ball down the field, I know, like, this to me is one of the biggest reasons why I'm so confident that Bo's not going to be able to do it. And then when you look at all the other, let's call it tape, if you will, he was the worst quarterback at the Senior Bowl, not close to me. He was bad at Auburn. He wasn't good at the NFL Combine. Every time that he has been asked to be a quarterback outside of that structure offense in Oregon, he's failed. On top of that, the way that Oregon gets in plays is the exact opposite of how he's going to get plays in at the NFL level. The bottom line is there are so many red flags around Bo Nix, and I don't know how else to tell people the Raiders can't draft him. Let's go to the next one here. He needs at least 2 years to develop. Like, you're not going to draft Bo this year. Like, you draft Bo this year, he's not beating Aiden O'Connell. He's not beating Gardner Minshew. And I'll say it again. If you have a competition in 2025, I don't think he's beating Aiden, and I don't think that he's beating Gardner Minshew. And to me, we've already seen that AP and Telesco have a 2-year window. The amount of contracts that they have offered to people tells me that they have a 2-year window. If you draft a quarterback in round 1, maybe round 2, that I don't think is going to be ready in 2024, 2025, so then you hand him the keys to the car in 2026. What happens if Telesco and AP are gone? Then it's a wasted draft pick because your new head coach that comes in isn't going to stick with Bo Nix. So you're risking all this time for a quarterback that I don't see the upside in. I'm not going to risk the 2 years there to develop. Doesn't make any sense to me. The final reason is the one that if you're a Raiders fan and you still want Bo Nix, I guarantee you, after you see what Bo said, you're like, there's no way he's ever going to work here in Las Vegas. I'll show you that in just a second, but I do want people to interact with Jeremy Chuggs and I on social media. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365, literally everywhere. My man Chuggs is at Jeremy Chuggs on Twitter and at Jeremy_Chuggs on Instagram. We like to interact with people on YouTube. We've really built this channel on being an interactive channel. However, the easiest way to get in contact with us, a lot of times DM us on social media. We also like to react with tweets. We also like when you guys back us up on social media, believe it or not. So interact with us. Don't be shy. The last one is this. He's not mentally tough enough to be a Raider. I'm telling you right now, there is no flipping way that Bo Nix is mentally tough enough to rock the silver and black, to rep that shield. You know why? Because I heard what he said recently, and he's not going to be able to handle the heat. If you did not see what he said, this is going to open your eyes here a little bit. So he was on the Rosillo pod, and they essentially asked Bo Nix, what's the biggest difference between being a starter at an SEC school and a starter out west? And this is also predicated on, why did you struggle so much at Auburn? Why did you play so well at Oregon? This is what Bo Nix had to say. In a sense, and I'll just say this, there's a lot of so I'll try to navigate this the best of my ability. In a sense, the hostility and maybe the unhealthy pressure that is added to, 18, 22-year-olds by, outside noise and fans, like it's almost like an unhealthy obsession in the South. I mean, I was that way growing up. I thought it was, life or death football. And you move out here, and you play the game as hard as you can, and you got great passion for the game, and, it's just a little bit more laid back in a way. And it's a lot more like, we're proud of the person you are out there on the field, and if you give great effort, and if you try really hard, and obviously we're out there to win, nobody goes out there to lose and look bad in front of a bunch of people, but I think that's the difference, quite frankly, is what is out in college football in the South. Then how you are out here in football. It's just a game, and we find the way to enjoy it. So, let me just say this real quick. I know there's a lot of I probably didn't read it the way that he said it. I encourage you to go check it out. When you listen to him talk, it's essentially, it was too much pressure for him at Auburn. The fans were a little bit too passionate for him and caring too much. And that weighed on him. That weighed on his, when you listen to him talk about it, you can see that He wanted to go out to Oregon, out west, where, quite frankly, maybe people don't care about football as much as they do down in the SEC, down in Auburn. But I've done this show for a long time. On a scale of 1 to 10, how passionate of a Raider fan are you? 1, you don't give a shit. 10, silver and black till I die, right? Like, there is no 1 through 9 for Raider fans. It is 10 through and through. And if you can't handle Auburn, if you can't handle SEC football because it's too much for you, and you want to go play for a team, go play for some place that they go, hey, as long as you're a really good person, you're out there, you're giving your best effort, then they're not going to be mad at you. That's not the quarterback that I want. I want a killer mentality. I want a QB that commands a locker room. And everything that I've seen, everything I've heard around Bo, especially those last remarks there, how could you ever say that that's going to be the guy that I want to lead my squad? No flipping way do I want Bo Nix to be a Raider. So in conclusion, the Raiders cannot afford to draft a surefire bust in Bo Nix. Nix might succeed other places. He might. I'm not going to say that. But I promise you, I am as confident in Bo Nix being a bust on the Raiders as I was as confident as Josh McDaniels was going to fail as a head coach. I don't trust also Luke Getsy to develop a quarterback. I don't trust Rich Scangarello to develop a quarterback. If Bo Nix played linebacker, defensive line, and I was able to work with Patrick Graham, if I was able to work with Antonio Pierce, if I was able to work with Rob Leonard, a lot of these coaches that I trust on the defensive side of the football, all right, I might be a little bit different. I don't trust the offensive coaching staff. Then on top of that, you add that into the equation with Bo Nix. No good. I was so confident that Zach Wilson was going to be a bust. Why? Because I knew that the difference between him going to BYU to New York was going to be way too much for him to handle up here. And if Nix is already telling you that he can't handle the pressure of playing in the SEC in Auburn, what makes you think he's going to be able to handle the pressure of playing for Raider Nation? So the talent, the coaching staff, and everything that I watch on tape reminds me of a QB that is Zach Wilson, Derek Carr, the bad versions of them. And because of that, the Raiders have to avoid Bo Nix like the plague.